Good afternoon, everyone, and
What
welcome
up?
to today's Cashflow Digital, where I'm joined by Brad, the president, in his presidential suite there in the background. And we don't have Mike today. Mike is having a day off, which could be good news for you guys, to be honest, because it means we get more time with Brad
I don't know if
and
that's
to
good or bad,
answer
but
questions short, sharp, and quickly. So,
just like me.
oh man, the guy's always got to lower the tone, man. These American dudes, bad people. But anyway, I'm only joking. But do check out ODYS first and foremost, guys. If you're interested in age domains, if they're going to help you with a new project, leverage them if you can with a good solid backlink profile already being there. It might be worth a punt. So check
Have you
them out.
tried? I'm testing more. Speaking of Otis, and I need to try this out. But on a client site in rehab, seeing some very good results from old school SERP shaker type build outs, like keyword plus city state about 1,500 times, and then different keyword about 1,500 more times. It's eating up some of the crawl budget, but as soon as they index, and they're staying indexed much better than on like a regular expired domain. Have you tried throwing that type of build onto a an Otis domain that has some authority and shit like that?
Not like a mass page build as such. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know guys who literally have a real solid aggressive content strategy that literally get amazing results, but I've never tried like that type of...
Yeah, and this is just straight up spun content. Yeah.
It's worth a try. It's actually might be something. I'm going to take a note of that just for a laugh. Just
I'd be curious to see what happens. Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah, grab an Otis domain that could potentially have a local segment on it, and just put it out there. 1,500. See how they index. See how they stay indexed, because that's a big thing. They all index well, but do they stay indexed is the thing. And I'm noticing with the client site, which I mean they've been around for years at this point, and they've got a solid link base. They've got all the standard shit. I mean, we're pushing them too, but yeah, it's staying indexed relatively well, and they're getting good results out of it. Like you go into, I forget that I built it out, and I go into Ahrefs, I'm like, oh, fucking right, like 100 something new keywords today, and then I was like, it's all from the local sub. But yeah, it's interesting.
Interesting.
Because I kind of put that shit on the shelf for a while, but it seems to be making some type of a comeback.
That's the thing. Some of the old tactics do come back. Yeah. You've got to keep trying. But yeah, no, it's definitely worth a try. I'll give it a go. And even if it bombs, then I think people will still be like, at least he tried it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Maybe they can go away and slightly tweak the process and do it better. So hopefully that's the case. Live IRL fan though, did I try the bot for YouTube? I've not even had the chance to have a look at it. I have literally been rammed. Like even today, I had to call it 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and now 5 to 6. So I have been rammed. And before that, I was at the gym. And before that, I was in a Clubhouse webinar at 7 a.m. On Clubhouse. So literally, I have not even had time to literally take a shit, let alone do anything else. So
how's the training going?
Good. Just trying to get some consistency back in. Yeah. I need to massively up my cardio, which I'm doing. So I'm literally going to hammer the shit out of it. I'm injury free. So hopefully I get a fair run at it now without picking up any knocks or stupid injuries. I think obviously when you get back, start in to training after like 2 years off with COVID,
that's rough.
Things start to pull. And obviously when you're 41, like me, it's even harder because you're an old git.
So my back always feels like it's going to blow, so I have to be careful.
But yeah, it's I'm getting there. Hopefully my body's kind of, I'm not going to say it's super fit or anything like that, but it's kind of acclimatizing to some form of exercise and responding better to it. But before we go to Mohammed's question, just a hello to Mr. William Jones. the Philippines, Jonesy. I like that Jonesy's actually got a gym being built out as well. I've seen that on Facebook.
Nice.
So, yeah, Jonesy's going for it as well. Hopefully, you're going to use it as well, William.
We just bought a rower for the garage the other day.
I love the rowing machine, actually.
Yeah, I got on one at the gym. I'd never been on one, and I'm in relatively decent shape. And my fucking ass cheeks and forearms were on fire. It was crazy. If you really push it,
that is crazy.
Ass cheeks and forearms. That's going to be the name of my gym.
Ass cheeks and forearms. But Fred Hutterson, Jonesy beat you. Come on, Fred. But I'm going to change the rule. You're not allowed to come in before 10:2 to get the first comment, because I think some people are manipulating the system a little bit.
We're all SEOs.
Yeah, give them anything and they'll go for it. Hello, amigos from Facebook user.
Wow.
Mark Flanagan, good to see you, buddy. But Mohammed has got a question. But before we do go to that, guys, please do give us a little like on the video if you enjoy the
presidential level quality we're putting out here. Yeah,
exactly. So give us a little like, but also put your questions in the live chat. We're here to go through as many questions as you want.
Yeah, when I'm here alone, I'm not looking up articles on Search Engine Journal and crap because I don't care. So we'll just answer questions.
Yeah, answer questions. We don't have Mike to pad out the stuff.
Yeah, no questions. We'll just sit here and bullshit the whole time. It won't be anything about SEO.
Yeah,
unless I think of something.
Anyway, Mohammed has a sensible question.
Yeah.
So he's talking about age domains and he's saying they literally help. But how do you think Google checks about the domain, how old a domain is?
They can tell by the registration dates. They can tell if it's been dropped. They can, age does help. I mean, even when you start just pumping out content, you're gonna see that. What's the typical age range that you see, Craig? It's usually like 6 months. I do content linking, so it speeds it up, but I've seen it like a huge pop after about 6 months or so. So yeah, they can tell. Age equals trust, or is part of trust. So
yeah, for sure. Listen, as I say, we were having the conversation. We mentioned it earlier, but I've literally seen, if you go to Odyssey's website, there's some case studies on there, and there's a particular guy, and Azzedine is his name, and this dude literally will tell you he doesn't do any kind of link building strategy. It's just a full-on aggressive content strategy, and
how much content's he putting out, like in a month?
Oh man,
bunch.
It's a whole bunch. I don't even know close figures, but this dude actually is a screenshot in 1 year, and this was in 2020 or 21, can't remember. He made 250 grand that year on Amazon affiliate. Now that's just one crappy little project. How many people are making that kind of money on Amazon affiliate, fresh off the bat with an age domain name and just launching it? So that particular dude is hitting it fairly hard.
Sick.
So it's a sick strategy and works very well for him.
In your personal opinion, I know Otis it's going to be skewed because Otis is a sponsor, but how much do you feel that benefits someone by going and getting the Otis domain? And I'm not trying to sell Otis, whatever, but how much do you think it helps?
Listen, out with Otis being a sponsor, I'm always a transparent guy.
Yeah.
For me, I think, it's a no-brainer purely because the backlink profile's there. What's your biggest thing that takes a bit of time? Now, anyone can get a good content strategy in place, but if we can leverage the historic trust and power that a website has, you're getting yourself a head start. It is literally a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to leverage a backlink profile? Some of these domains have got some outrageously decent backlink profiles, and the better the backlink profile, the way I look at it is, right, a link costs you probably on average $100, give or take. Now, if that's got, I don't know, 100 good referring domains of 50, you know, or just say, let's say 50, that's $5,000 alone in link value there. You know, and then adding into account the kind of domain age and all the kickstart that would give you. I think, you know, if you're getting that for, you know, $1,000 or $2,000, why not? You know, so I really do think it just gives you a little bit of a head start, and essentially you can, if you don't add good content to it and you don't continue to build links, you're probably still not going to do that well. But I just think anything that gives you that competitive edge.
Yeah, my dev team recently is holding me back a little bit because they're Indian based, and I mean, it seems like every uptick with COVID, it sets them further behind. So that is what I'm having issues with at the moment.
Kenny Diamond, I'm not sure who Shane Binney is, and putting in a domain name there, but yeah, whatever.
Go check it out. You can get some good malware.
So Mohammed saying registering a domain won't tell Google that it's live. I think it has more to do with the first indexation date, maybe. I think
they tell you how long it's been indexed if you look at the catch and all that stuff. So yeah, and it's a combination. The purchase date, the indexation date, everything, all the above. How old is the oldest backlink on there? I'm sure that has, you know, it's a factor as well.
There's a whole bunch of different potential factors on there, and you know, registered domain won't automatically tell Google that you know, a domain's live, but that's why you've got sitemaps. But you know, are Google looking at Google are looking at multiple different things. Are Google taking who is into account? Who knows? But you know, that stuff's publicly available for, you know, me or you to have a look at. So why wouldn't Google use that data as part of any kind of part of the process when it comes to ranking websites? So hopefully that answers your question. Fahad is asking, how can we make an internal linking strategy for micro niche affiliate website? So very small website, I'm going to assume. Maybe, let's say 20 pages, Brad. What would be your kind of...
That might be too small for Keyword Cupid. So say 5 to 20 pages. What I would probably do is create a hub on the homepage that goes out to your 5 to 20 pages, link all those pages back up to the homepage, and then link to all of said pages. And that's essentially what we do on Autopilot with the plugin, that we mentioned last week. It does that. That's exactly what it does. It goes that way.
Somebody called me Chamble before on here. It's now Chamble. I'm assuming I'm Chamble, unless you're calling Brad a Chamble.
More of a Chumble.
Chumble, yeah. But if you're referring to me, Mostafazur, then I am good, mate. I am good. And I like that nickname, but Chamble was better. Chamble, yeah, that might take a bit of getting used to. Honey goes on to say, one of Honey's expired domains is caching every day. Is it a good sign to rank faster on Google?
I take it as a good sign. I take it as a good sign that it's got the crawl budget is pretty good. I don't want Google to be crawling my site once a year. I'd much rather them be crawling it every day. That way I can make changes and get it indexed quicker, and they can see it, and you can benefit from it, especially when you're going through stuff like cog and stuff like that on the site. So yeah,
makes sense. Like, I've got a question for you, Brad. Like, when you are doing whatever you do, lead gen, whatever, do you try and force indexing, or are you like me? I personally, a lot of people say to me, what you do, I just let it sit and do it naturally.
I don't force it hard. Most of the time I don't take the time to do it. What I'll do is, if it's for a client site, we're wanting to show big month one gains, what I'll do is do the primary pages that we want to push, go through those with cog, fix the interlinking, all that type of stuff, and then submit those to index, which isn't instant in GSC, and hope that if you've got an established site, the crawl budget's already going to be pretty good anyway. So it's gonna to Honey's point. I'm working on. My wife works for a real estate team, and so I'm trying to. She gets paid per lead that comes into the real estate team, so it makes sense for me to do a little work on that and push it up. So I've noticed that their crawl budget is insane. And they have almost no links, no citations, no nothing. I just had to, spend a couple $100 to push that. But their crawl budget is like crazy. Like every day or two, they're getting recatched. So I take it as a good sign. I think having your core entity stuff will help with that anyway. Like if it's a local business, once you've got the GMB, your crawl budget should be better, especially if you have, if you're not just copying pasting shitty content on there. But yeah, anything like that will be good. Traffic always helps, of course. So
cool. And our Prosser, what up, mate? Good to see you. Honey, by the way, just for anyone out there who may have misinterpreted what I said, I wasn't suggesting that Honey was force indexing, by the way, but Honey's is caching naturally. But I just think in general, one of the most common questions I get just now is, shit, dude, my shit's not indexing, Amiga's not working and all that stuff. And I think people become obsessed with it, so
usually that means your content is shit most of the time, or you're starting with a damaged site. Yeah. As far as force indexing beyond GSC or anything, I don't do that because I can force index all day. It doesn't matter if it indexes, it matters if it stays in the index. And I've noticed that a lot of times when you force index, it's just going to come right back out in the next month or less. So,
yeah. Mohammed's asking, when will we see you with the Hollywood boys?
Who are the Hollywood boys?
I'm assuming actors, but you ain't going to see me in Hollywood anytime soon. I done it for the IMDb links, but
closest I'll get to Hollywood is my my OnlyFans. So that's a back alley in Hollywood.
But an SEO movie would be cool, eh? Literally, you fuck me over and I come over and beat your ass. Now, we wouldn't have to actually act that part out because I would literally just beat you anyway.
Talking about me? Let's
yeah.
do it. You'll come to the door, I'll be wearing boxing gloves, and that's it.
Nothing else.
Nothing.
Not even boots.
No, I don't
Come
need boots.
on, man.
No.
That's enough to
wrestling shoes. How about that?
Nah, I'm not.
Wear your headgear. Wear protection because you're about to get fucked.
Oh man. Anyway, Vincent. Hi guys. I own an expired domain, the original adult channel domain from back in the day. I seen it expired. 2 a.m. purchase. What can I do with it? So the original adult channel domain, it's expired. He's bought it while he was pissed and is now like, what the fuck can I do? What would you do? What's your first?
There's got to be some type of affiliate shit out there, right? I would just load it up with that and hope that, try and rebuild as many URLs as you can. You probably wouldn't be able to use their content if you think that they're going to come and sue you. But rebuild those as quickly as possible. Get it back up in the index. You're going to probably have to have some special hosting, right, in that niche.
Yeah.
But then, go for affiliate.
Affiliate, yeah.
Maybe some kind of display ad a
whole bunch of stuff, and also just sell links on the fucker as well, because I'm going to assume that's a monster website. I'm going to assume. I'm just curious, Vincent, what kind of like DR and stuff like that is on something like that? I'm just curious. Surely that's up in the 80s, for a site of that stature, I would assume.
What's the original adult channel domain, though? Is that like Pornhub?
God knows. You don't remember the adult channel? Well,
the one that was all pixelated and shit?
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
I didn't know they had a domain.
Yeah. But, yeah, don't obviously tell us your domain name, but, yeah, I'd be curious to know a bit more, I'm just asking for a friend, obviously, not an interest of mine. But we'll come back to that.
I had one. I was building links for him, and it was just like entity style links. What was it? He's like, will you do that? I was like, I don't care. I'm just ordering them and fucking like just upcharging you. So I don't care what kind of how many links I built. But it was what was it? I think it was like Uber fuck or something like that. It was like it was some weird taxi cab confessional type stuff, but that's my only foray into the adult niche.
A quick bit of feedback for Mostavizor. We can tell you all about SEO and affiliate marketing, but it's a large subject to broadly answer here. If you've got any specifics about it, then we can go into it in more detail. But
plus, he didn't say please.
Yeah, so we need more information. Basically,
what do you want to know about it?
Yeah, tell us what you want to know, and we'll hopefully be able to give you some information. But Fred has a very specific question on PBNs. How do your microsites differ from a PBN, and what tips have you got for a PBN setting for PBN?
Yeah, I guess defining both would help. So when I say PBN, I'm thinking like a traditional PBN where it's you just bought it based on, back in the day you'd buy it based on PR, but you just buy a PR domain, doesn't matter what niche, what anything, you throw it up and you link it over. You might use it to link to, like if you had an agency, use it to link to multiple clients. If you're running affiliate, you would use it to push up multiple affiliate offers, stuff like that. But it really has no theme behind it, no rhyme or reason as to what you're posting. You've got the basic WordPress theme on there. Just throw up a cheap one, switch them around, and you might have an article about dentist on one, and then I don't know, e-cigs on the next, something like that. That's the traditional PBN. Where we got away from that, we broke out and we started building what we called mini nets. So the mini nets, I start off by trying to find an Expire domain or a niche auction domain that is in my industry, in my niche. So if I want to push rehab sites or push calls for rehab, I'm going to start off by finding like an old either informational site about alcoholism, or maybe an old facility that is no longer around, that they just let their domain expire because their owner went to prison. I see that a lot. If you look up these rehab facilities, it's like so-and-so goes to prison and then that's why the domain ended up at auction. But so I want to find something in my niche, preferably with content that I can reuse. So then I'll set it up and I'll rebuild it as closely as I can to the original content, because it's all niche relevant, right? Let that index, and then I'll start building onto that. And it becomes, I treat it like a money site. So that's the biggest difference, is I treat these like money sites versus, a depreciating asset. So I want to build these up. I want to maybe do some link building. If they don't have a strong entity tied to them, I want to get that. I want to build that. I'll build out all the typical socials, maybe even citations. I'll build out internal pages. I'll either do just a full national level content plus linking, where you plan out your content ahead of time, just like Craig does with Otis domains, and you just keep publishing. Or I'll do like I mentioned earlier, and run SERP Shaker or whatever localized builder that you like to use. I'll build that. I want to build traffic to those domains. I want to build more authority to those domains. And ultimately, I want those domains to be bringing in calls in addition to my main offer that they're then linking to. So you're kind of double dipping with that. So it's essentially, it's the same as a PBN, except you're getting shit in your niche. It's driving revenue, it's driving traffic, and you treat it more like a money site. So those are the biggest differences. So I know that was a pretty long-winded answer, but
that was a mic type answer. But in-depth stuff is good. I just want to address the guy who's asking for my WhatsApp. Brad, what's your WhatsApp number? Do you want to share?
I don't have one.
Doesn't have one. Neither do I.
I mean, all these communication methods, it's like this came out, and I'm like, dude, you've got me on like 3 other, like you've got me on Skype, not you in particular, but you got me on Skype, Messenger, maybe Telegram, If you a lot of people have my phone number, hit me up on one of those. I'm not downloading something else. So
Yeah.
I don't see the difference between WhatsApp and Telegram versus versus Messenger. Just hit me up on Messenger. I can ignore it easier on that. So,
but also, Mr. Visitor, I'm not giving some random geezer my WhatsApp number either. Just for just for obvious reasons. But please do not come on and spam the chat because it is likely. Look, he's calling me Chambo, gay Chambo. It's clearly something.
That should be your screen name for next week.
So I've actually got to take a screenshot of this. So must the fizzer, whoever you are, I know it's obviously a troll of some description. I'm not sure who, but Mustivisor is gone. But I just thought I'd show people that's it's fun. But yeah, Heggy Chambo. So I just want to know which one, because there's only a particular set of people who would say something like that. And when I say a set of people, like I've got a close bunch of friends who are making some gay jokes on the featured snippets back and forward between me and them. So your thing's blocked, which one of my friends you are. So there you go. But anyway, always fun. But Moshin is checking his Google Search Console and he can see a lot of his pages show crawled and not indexed. What is the actual issue? So obviously a lot of people who go into Search Console and see this, potentially, I've done an audit in a mastermind thing that I've got going on today, and there was an element of URLs that were crawled and not indexed. Some of those were supposed to be in the index because they were, content that was designed to rank, and the content was literally copied and pasted. So Google's going to crawl it and not index it. But Brad, what other issues are you seeing?
Yeah, it's basically Google telling you that your content is not good enough for them to keep in the index, is the way I see it. So I've seen a lot of the AI produce content doing that at the moment. So people are just being lazy and just throwing shit out there. Not saying that the AI content can't or won't work. It's just, you're probably doing it wrong though. So I would look at improving the content, to be honest. Add some more media in there. Vary up your HTML tags. Add some lists, tables, all that kind of crap. Add videos, map embeds if it's local, anything like that. Get some richer media in there, and make sure that it's not just shit content too. So
yeah. So that is what the issue is there, Machine. So check it out. And again, you may be under the impression that you're buying unique content. You're paying someone. They could be using AI to write it. So never make the assumption.
They could just be straight spinning it too, shittily, if that's a word.
But Honey's asking, is it a better idea to buy an expired domain with a lower DA or PA in the same niche, or buy an expired domain with a high domain authority in a general niche, specifically to rank the local site? So for a local website, would you take a lower website that was in that niche, or would you take a general niche that was a higher domain authority?
I might buy both of them, but if I had to pick one over the other, I would pick the one with the lower RD on there, because it might have links that I can't get anywhere else, and they're specific to my niche, and I can always build up the authority once I get everything up and running. So if I had to pick between the two, I would do that. Or plan B would be to buy both of them and use the one that's more general to push up the DR, DA, whatever metric you want to use, TF, to the lower end, the lower RD Expire domain. So,
couple of options for you there, Honey. Hopefully one of them makes sense. But yeah, I would tend to agree with what Brad said.
Yeah, I mean, with an expired domain, they're going to be $10 a pop. It's not like you're going and you're having to pick from Otis and you got to drop, 500 to 1,000. The barrier to entry is relatively low, so you're just out the time it takes to set them up. So that's what I would do.
Cool. Fahad, Craig, now the website structure is like that. Just I show post on my homepage. If now I created a single homepage and then interlink all of my posts with it, will that affect his?
Will interlinking affect your rankings? I think is what he's asking.
Yeah.
If you do it right, your rankings should go up. If you do it wrong, then they'll stay the same or maybe drop a little. So yeah.
A good solid internal linking structure. If you look for Andy Drinkwater, just Google Andy Drinkwater internal linking guide. He is a guy that, is probably the internal linking guy to, that's his thing. He loves all that shit. And if you look at his page, he's got a big guide on there to show you how to do it properly. But equally, he's got some examples of when he started the internal linking thing, and obviously the graph going upwards in terms of organic traffic as a result. So
I'll look that up.
There's proof of it there on his website, but also a very detailed guide on how to do internal linking effectively. So
I'll have my secretary Monica Lewinsky remind me to look that up after the
So our Prosser mini sites, are you straight copying the content from the way back, or are you spinning it?
I don't spin the content from way back. I might throw it up on the site and make sure that it's not being used elsewhere, because some people do go into way back and take content like that. But yeah, if it's clean, then I'm using it. So
if it's clean, that's the big question though. If it's clean. Yeah. Some rotten rogue is likely to have stolen
and you'll be able to tell if it indexes relatively quickly and ranks for some like either brand name and shit like that, then you should be pretty good to go from there.
Yeah. But
you don't want Chris Palmer stealing all your content before you buy the site though. So
oh man. Not even just Chris. I think there's a whole bunch of people that are doing that.
Yeah, there are. I think they have programs out there that do that, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I think Chris made his own one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there was Content Fish as well, which was another one that done a similar thing. So yeah, cheap content, it's always good. Moshin is asking, what type of backlinks work well for local businesses apart from local directories?
I mean, if you by local directories, you mean citations. That's always typically your base. And then you've got your entity. You want to go out and get your branded properties, tie all those together, point them back to your site. I don't Google stack a lot, but I know a lot of people still do it. If you have it in GSC and everything, you might as well throw something together really quickly for that. But as far as pushing the needle hardcore, I don't think that's going to do it. Then it's going to be the lowest cost route would be just straight niche edits direct to your site from there. Just build out your clusters and 4 to 5 niche edits to each internal page plus the home page, and you should be pretty good as long as you got everything else in line.
Exactly. Hopefully that helps you, Moshin.
Ultimately, thinking deeper into the question, if the best kind of link that you can get is one from another business that is verified, that is trusted, that is XYZ. So if you do any kind of outreach, if you have the plugin on your site, that's kind of what you're going to get from there. Other local businesses, either in your industry or your location, is going to move the needle from what I've seen more than anything. So
yeah. Also, as our process say, local chamber.
I would consider that BBB stuff like that. I would consider a higher end citation.
Yeah, and just gives that local relevancy.
A secret, if you're looking for expired domains, find ones that already have those those links and use those. Those are from Honey's question earlier. Those are the ones that I would start to get excited about because they already have that type of link profile built in. So I can go out and order regular citations all day. I can't get local chamber links all day. So
yeah, especially even if you were in the local area, you've got to pay money and schmooze them a bit and onto the website. So yeah, easier to buy one that's got that stuff.
Buy an expired domain also that already has a GMB attached to it. So
yes. Anyway, Joseph McClelland, how many sites can or should a national service business have? Is a kind of can go either way. But a national service website, are you a believer of trying to stick with one big website with loads of different local landing pages, or do you think maybe grabbing a few other websites with maybe more specific URLs is a good way to do it?
It depends on if it's an actual brand, like an established national brand. So if I'm working with a chain of gyms that have locations all across the nation and they are legitimate and they have those locations and they're not a little shit like me just pumping out PPL listings, then I would stick with the one site and then build a network of feeder sites around that. But those aren't necessarily directly associated with them aside from getting a link from them. But if you're a shithead like me, or maybe you, I know you don't do a ton of local, then I would want to disperse my risk, so to say, around, and I would probably just build clusters of 5, maybe 10 locations per site, if not a bunch of individuals as well. So actually, you saw my conversation in CTR Booster where I said, hey, I don't have websites in a bunch of my GMBs. Well, why would you not have a website? Well, one, they stuck around this long without a website. I'm not adding any kind of website because it could get suspended. Two, I'm just spamming. So the CTRB needs to work without having a website in there. So they did not agree, but people like you and a few others backed me up. So it just goes from there. A lot of times I don't even have a website. I can get calls all day with just GMB. Is it easier to rank with a website? Yeah. Could it flip some, throw up some red flags if you try and spam that too hard and get you suspended? Then yes. So, I mean, it's kind of a balancing act from there. Yeah,
no, definitely. But our processors get a follow-up to Joseph McClelland's question. Well, kind of a follow-up. Feeder sites to the national site. Any benefit of those being subdomains versus new URLs?
I wouldn't really consider it a feeder site if it's on a subdomain. It's just an extension of the site. Like I've got with a few of the larger clients we've had, we built out a local subdomain. So their root domain was general. So we'll just go trying to pick a niche. Payday. So on the root of a payday site, if you wanted to build a organic, so it's local and then just organic. On a payday site, you would go after, payday loans low credit, payday loans, no bank account, payday, all of that stuff, just the national level content, traditional content plus linking, you would go all that stuff on the root and then all your local. So that would be payday loan plus city state about 30,000 times or whatever. You would put all of that onto the local sub. So it'd be like local.mypaydayloans.com is how I would do it. But I still wouldn't consider that local to be a feeder site, essentially. It's just a lead generation tool that is housed on your website. But then I would probably even build out feeder sites to support both the local sub and the national level root domain. So
yeah, That makes sense, and I'm pretty much the same boat as you. I wouldn't consider a feeder site a subdomain of a main domain name as such.
Yeah.
You know, I would want that to be completely separate. Although a subdomain, as far as I'm concerned, is slightly, you know, is a separate website entity from an SEO perspective than the main website. But you know, I would like to create new URLs.
Yeah. Now he might be talking about subdomains on something like a Weebly or a WordPress. In that case, I would prefer to have a regular website. It's a pain in the ass to host and everything, but I just haven't seen the benefit of building out a 2.0 PBN network in a while, or even a mini network that's 2.0 based. I like to be able to push, like, for example, back in the day, we would do, we'll just stick with payday loans. So I would do, you know, payday loans, Virginia.weebly.com. I would rank that by whatever means I could, you know, typically ordering some type of link package going to it, having a solid homepage on that Weebly, and then on the Weebly subdomain, and then building out, you know, the supporting terms around it within Weebly and linking to all of those, push it up, and then use that to push to link over once it's ranking. Use that to push the rankings of the ultimate money site. So that would be an older strategy I haven't tested in a while, but it wasn't working for me last time I used it. But you would see our Weeblies and our whole fucking, you know, back to the tier 3 ranking and just taking over everywhere.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So
interesting. But guys, we still do have 15 minutes left or so. Please do put your questions in the chat. Also, do leave a little like in a video or a dislike if you've been blocked.
Can they still dislike you or like you after they've been blocked?
I'm not so sure, man. But either way, it's engagement, right? So, hopefully they can. But yeah, I think. Maeve has just come in and nearly missed this. Tut. But
there will be a replay, because all this valuable information we've been dissing out from the presidential office is just nothing short of amazing, in my opinion. So.
Exactly. But yeah, guys, put your questions in the chat, or we're just going to start talking about boxing again and presidential suite and who shot JFK and
Lee Harvey Oswald, right?
I mean, they blamed that guy. They blamed that guy. I'm not so sure. I've watched a few documentaries and a few things on YouTube, and they reckon there was other people.
Yeah, there had to have been.
So,
did you ever watch the movie? It's interesting. It's got he's in a bunch of movies. He was in one of the Spider-Mans, but 1962, where he goes back to the past and has to like try and stop the JFK shooting and makes friends with Lee Harvey Oswald. But if he fucks it up, he's got to go all the way back to 1962 and wait the 2 years and shit like that. It's an interesting movie. What's that guy's name? He's in all those dumb movies with the guy from Pineapple Express. He's in that. I can't remember what he is. Anyway, that's irrelevant.
I will try and have a look. Justin is saying Secret Service are on their way to you.
Hopefully they're on their way to you, not me.
Yeah.
They're looking for me. I'm in the Oval Office.
Yeah, you can't complain. You're quite easy. They're probably on your roof right now.
Yeah, they're about to bust through these windows.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that's even possible. They're probably
Joe Biden's tied up under the desk at the moment, so you can see
that. But Joseph McClelland is asking a question about anchors, pointing to tier 1. So, what do your anchors look like? Branded?
When in doubt, go market. They're typically market on. If it's the tier 2 anchors are typically market. If they're pointing to the tier 1, that would make them tier 2, right? So, yeah, market level. Stay broad. Stay safe.
Stay broad.
Thirsty.
The further down you go, the spammier you can get.
Yeah.
further down the tiers, I mean, by the way, not further down anywhere else, just in case anyone misinterprets. But our posters actually
There is the desk.
Most of us are shot JFK. Let's blame that guy. Yeah.
Mustafa,
Yes. Blame him. Mark Flanagan has got a question referencing internal linking. Had more success with big buttons in between paragraphs recently that rather than links within the text. What are your thoughts on that, Brad?
That makes sense. I mean, you see on even the big publishing sites, you see big call to actions. I would assume that you're seeing an increase in engagement if you are getting any traffic to those internal pages. So that would make sense. Yeah, it makes sense to just copy the big boys. I see a lot of if you enjoy this article, you'll also like this article, and it's just the article title. That works exceptionally well as well for internal linking too. So yeah, I would mix it up.
What people need to understand is, Google don't see the website the way the human eye does. It's just seeing code. But an internal link's an internal link. If you're doing that under the guise of something that's going to create more engagement and encourage people to click, then I think you're winning at that point. So if that strategy is working for you, it makes perfect sense. If you can create, or force someone to click on that kind of stuff, or not force, but you get what I'm saying. Then I think
we're not doing click jacking or anything.
Yeah, then I think you're doing a good job with that, Mark. So again, just gives other people food for thought on that stuff. So yeah, go for it, man. Is all I can say. And Maeve says it's not copying the big boys, it's borrowing their data.
That's right.
Exactly.
Borrowing big data. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving out any legal advice. But
borrowing data is good fun.
Yeah, I mean for this one, any law consequences.
Right, this one, copied content. So, Rafal, I have had a few instances where I have grabbed a domain from an expired domain name, and someone's came at me saying that's my domain, blah 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 blah, and done all that kind of stuff. Now, it's probably in a lot of cases a lot easier just to give them the domain name back if they did let it slip for whatever it cost you. And that's it. When it does get further on, and I had a website and that had repurposed, and it was the National Birds of Prey Association's website. They'd let it expire. Now, I think they deliberately let it expire. I repurposed it, basically got some douchebag to build it exactly as it was, including the logos and everything else. And literally, we had the legal team on saying, you have to remove this, you have to remove instances of that, the National Birds of Prey, suggesting it was them, you had to get the logo off, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And there was a lot of backwards and forwards until they were happy. Otherwise, I was in bother. So I had to kind of try and appease them. But again, I was only trying to
change it to the artist formerly known as Birds of Prey.
Yeah, you could do shit. There's certain things that you could do things with, but again, I just don't think it's worth the hassle of having these people on your case. If there's
it's not worth the headache of fighting them. Yeah.
Nah. And someone's asking, what did you do with the Frage domain? So, Maeve, the Frage domain still is there as it was. It still looks exactly as it was when he had it. I only really got it to tell people stories at conferences, just to show that high-profile people do let their domains expire. So it was more of an educational thing rather than me doing anything with it. My thing is, what could you do with a politician's domain name? It's hard to make that a hotel affiliate or an Amazon affiliate when it's a dude's name. So that particular one, I know there are legal people looking at it. He's had his legal team on it for years, and he has also been trying to get the domain from me for a while, but he doesn't want to pay for it. So I've just parked it, and I do need to be careful though, because he does have some decent lawyers and stuff like that. So I can't really do anything in case because again, I'm not a legal expert, but I just can't be bothered with the hassle of doing it to make a few quid. So I literally only use it to tell stories at conferences now. So that's it. And there might be the odd link or something popped on there as well, but hey ho, that's just the way it goes. But Machine, regarding outreach link building, is it all about money these days? Webmasters demand a lot of money for guest posts, niche edits, etc. What is your approach to reaching out for links, Brad? So let's say you have no fucking money, and Mike says, Brad, you're not spending a fucking penny. How does your outreach, link building, and potential earnings?
I'm not gonna outreach for links. I'll just build the content, like you said earlier. I mean, I've never done link outreach, so I wouldn't be able to comment on it, I guess. But I mean, it all goes back to, especially if you're doing local, make friends with local journalists, make friends with, local news teams, make friends with, say some freaking crazy stuff, lend your expertise to them. If I wanted to build a local agency, I would want local journalists, local newspapers, local online publishing avenues. I would want them in my back pocket. I would want to be partying with them. That's how I would do outreach for a local company. Like with the real estate shit. Why are you not providing free value to someone like mortgage brokers or home inspectors or credit repair people or any of that type of, why would you not want to be friends with them? Have you ever been the wildest Christmas party I've ever been to? Guess what industry it was, Craig? Guess. Fucking guess.
Lawyers.
Huh? No. They might be crazy ones, but I've never been to one. No, home inspector. It was insane. Like I walked in, I'm like, what the fuck kind of club are we going to? So it was two home inspectors, and they used to be one home inspection company. They got divorced. They had rival home inspection companies now. They purposefully one scheduled their party, so the other one purposely scheduled their party at the exact same time, and then they were just like building up. But it was like all these real estate agents, all these all these fucking like construction people, and they were fucking getting down like crazy. But it's just networking at that point. I'm not gonna go out and please, sir, I have a nice piece of content. Please link to my, this would be perfect to link to from your blog. I'm not going to do that. I'm a network and be like, hey, why don't you put me in this spot? Why don't you bring me on as an expert and quote me and link back to my site? Something. I'm going to provide something of real value as opposed to begging. At that point.
Yeah, I'm not a link beggar at all. And I think a lot of that.
I'll beg for other things, but not links.
But sorry, we can't help you more than that, Machine. I just think you're going to struggle if you're purely doing outreach, unless you're doing some crazy ass stories or stuff like that. You're going to get some attention from that.
I mean, as opposed to doing as opposed to doing outreach like that, I would prefer to go the route where I'm just building content and I'm spinning content for low-hanging fruit and making sure it's right, and like cognitive or whatever keyword scoring or content scoring program that you like to use. I would prefer to spend my time going that route and just getting out more and more and more and more and more content, and maybe even building out like a small IFTTT ring, and have it automatically go to the small ring as I put out the content, as opposed to worrying about linking at all at that point. If I don't have any, like absolutely zero budget, I'm not going to worry about linking, probably.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do. SEOs, they just do their thing on page.
Yeah.
Mark Flanagan saying it is not just copied content, it's also images and logos. I got a very scary legal letter from New York several years ago for using the Ford Oval logo on a site that promoted their cars. Yeah,
they know. Yeah. Ford will go after you. GM will as well. I used to work for we're an auto parts manufacturer, so aftermarket auto parts, and we came out with a sill plate, where your feet go, like you step up, most of the time you don't have anything there. So we came out with because we were an LED based company. So we made the taillights for the Camaro. Then we wanted to come out with the sill plate for the newer Camaro. It was 2010 plus the Gen 5. And so we came out with one, and my boss asked his brother, he's like, what do you think about actually going out and getting the GM licensing and everything? Because it's going to say Camaro, and that's, of course, trademark. His brother's like, I wouldn't fucking worry about it. He's like, they'll never know. Okay, cool. Well, 6 months into production, we get a note from GM saying, you better fucking stop selling these, like, immediately. So, yeah, Ford, GM, all those big companies, they do watch. Yeah, you got to be careful. With images, especially, images are the easiest one to go after. So use royalty-free images. Use maybe the same content. But again, I'm not a lawyer, not dispensing legal advice. So do your own research.
Well, that comes back to Raphael's question. If you use the same content, but you add value to it, can they come at you at that point? Is that starting to go into a gray area?
It would be grayer. I would say, yeah, reference the original post. If you want to do like a curation type of thing, you can most definitely grab pieces of that, link over, and then give your opinion on said piece. So, yeah, that's a content strategy that I know Mike has used fairly extensively in the past, back when he owned his agency. So his San Diego agency. So, yeah.
Maeve is saying you should put up a GoFundMe up for the Lifepost charity. I think that was for the Nigel Farage website. I could, but again, you'd probably end up getting called a scammer for, putting up some charity thing. Because I stupidly, well, not stupidly, I put that story out to the press just so that I could get some PR, because Farage's
again, a way to fucking get backlinks.
Yeah, it got me backlinks from that point of view. So I'd done all right.
They were free, right?
Yeah, completely free. So that's controversial because he's a politician. So I used it as a backlinking strategy. A lot of people think I was just goofing around, and I seen people in the comments on the actual article saying this guy sits in his mum's dungeon at home, and he should have better things to do with his time. And I'm like, if you dudes only knew. If you only knew what I was doing and the value I was getting, you wouldn't be seeing that shit. But, there was always an angle for me, and there always is an angle for a lot of us, doing weird stuff, but there is a creative angle. But our Prosser is saying, is there any value in just 301ing the expired domain rather than rebuilding a site on the expired domain? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, there is.
Why?
It just depends on how lazy I am. And I mean, if it has a ton of content and I can potentially see myself building it out as a mini net style site, then I'll use it. If it just has one or two links that I want, like you said earlier, what's the average link cost you? $100? Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
So if it has 2-3 solid links, then you're looking at $300 value for $10. So, and then just redirect it to a page. Another thing that I like to do as well is I'll build up a mininet domain, build out the internal pages so say I have a client, or it could be any money site, but say I have a client. I build out a mininet and build it out and rank it for the terms that I want to push on the client site. So I'll make the primary optimization points the same. So, heading, title, URL, everything on the client site as I do the mininet. So I push pretty hard on the mininet internal page to push it up in the rankings. So once it hits, top of page 2, bottom of page 1, then I'll redirect that mininet site over to the client's internal page. So a page-to-page redirect, and that does exceptionally well. So then you can do that 5, 6, 10, 20, 30 times, if you want to. That method works well. Since redirects got brought up, that's how I use redirects a lot.
But I also think, just to add to that, Prosser, when you rebuild the website, you are making sure that the links are becoming live again, because very often a lot of this stuff's dead. So you need to revive it before it can then go on and pass value to you. So I feel that reviving it is an important step, regardless of whether you go on to do a redirect or build something else out on it. It's about revival of that particular website first and foremost, and then do whatever you're going to do after that. But a couple of last questions before we shoot off. Sujit, is there any way to check an expired domain if it's been penalized? He's found a domain that's 10 years old, but it's been registered 7 times in history. It was in his niche, but he didn't buy it. So does that put you off seeing?
Yeah, I would definitely take a hard look at the Wayback Machine. Make sure it's not been used for anything that I want it associated with. Like if it's been used as a traditional PBN, I'd probably move on. You see a lot of the Asian, sites that they just rebuild those randomly on there. Typically stay away from those. But the best way, if everything from that point of view looks clean, if the backlinks don't look spammy, overly spammy, then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab it, because it's typically only $10 if you're working with Expire domains. I'll throw it up on a cheap hosting like a microhost or something like that. I'll do a quick build out. Like I'm not going to throw a fancy theme on it or anything like that. I'll throw a few of the older pages and maybe a few newer pages targeting some really long tail type content, like I'm trying to think. For payday loan, I would probably do. We'll stick with the same theme. Payday loans, no credit, or payday loans, no bank account for in city state. Throw a few of those type of internal pages up just with spun content. Get everything indexed. If they start to pop on page, anywhere from 1 to 3, then you're pretty safe to say it's a solid domain. If they don't show up anywhere, delete it off your server, try again.
Hopefully that helps you. So Machine saying we see a lot of websites with identical content, news websites, recipe websites, and their content is getting indexed and ranking as well. What is the science behind that happening? So
I think Google's going to treat different site types differently. To be honest, they know it's a news site. They know that's the name of the game with the news site. What I would be looking at this and thinking would be, how do I create my own news site where I can rank the shit out of dupe content all day, and all I've got to do is reference the original content provider. How am I going to do that to pull in a shit ton of traffic and just get display ad revenue, something like that. So I think it's just the site type, in my opinion.
Yeah, can't get away with that for a lot of stuff, but certain ones you can. And final one, Maeve has had a site rebuilt with over 250 articles and not one has re-indexed, but about 1/3 of the ones I have done, since have. How would you proceed? So she's flung a lot at it at the start.
How long ago has it been, Maeve?
Yeah, let us know that, Maeve. And
I would check historical rankings too. Versus the drop date. Did all of those for some reason go out of the index before it was even dropped? I would 2 to 3 months. I would start throwing some type of media on the old ones and submitting them to GSC and see what they do.
Yeah, got to play around with it. Last one. Ratio of info versus commercial content on an affiliate website in the beginning. Are you going to?
That's you, Craig. I don't do too many affiliate sites.
People are throwing a figure around just now, 80-20 in favor of informational against commercial. I've heard others argue that it's 70-30, but I think you have to weigh definitely in the balance of informational.
Now, would you take the informational? Shouldn't that be feeding the content on your commercial articles?
Yeah.
So ultimately, hopefully, they would click through and go to the commercial page anyway. So I would construct it like that. And but might have display ads or some way to make money off the informational pages as well. So again, I'm not a big affiliate guy. So,
but just stay away from the best this, the best that, and try to sell. You need that balance of informational content. Otherwise, you're not going to get any traction. Simple as. But back to we'll go back.
It was honestly the last half of the show was much better than the first. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, you probably didn't miss too much at the start, Neve. But guys, please do give us a little like if you enjoyed the show. Do check out ODYS and do check out these guys on NFG,
NFGSEO.com/7 if you want a free trial. MiniNetTraining.com is solid for some free training, especially regarding MiniNet, since we did discuss that. And I mentioned the plugin NFGSecret.com is where we explain the plugin that Mike and I use, especially a lot for local, in some instances national, but it really pushes for local. So
that's where to get them, guys. So if you want that plugin or anything else, go and check them out on those websites. And we will be back next week with Mike back again, hopefully. And catch
Do we want to have a theme for next week? Let's see who has the craziest background.
Let's see who's the craziest one. But we've got to keep it clean. Of
course. I don't want wieners in the background.
No. None of that stuff.
Well, I do, but I can't have them on YouTube, apparently. Is what I'm hearing. So,
we'll do that. Well, everyone, see you later on.
Later on.